Hello and welcome to the WB Mason Coaches Report on GoHofstra.com. Joined as always by the head coach of the Hofstra baseball team, John Russo. Coach, welcome.
Hey Lynn, thanks for having me.
Let's get into it, Coach. A look back last weekend, 3-game series at Towson. A well-pitched series, unfortunately, well-pitched on both sides over the weekend, on Saturday and Sunday. Fortunately, things didn't go your way with a 1-2 record on the weekend. Just your overall thoughts on that series.
You know, at the end of the day, we only gave up runs in 2 innings out of 27, which, you know, is basically unheard of. You know, on a weekend, and only to win 1 game out of that shows you how good our pitching was on the weekend. You know, up until the 9th inning on Saturday, you know, I thought we had outplayed Towson 17 of 18 innings, and you know, but it happens. I mean, if you play, coach, watch baseball long enough, you'll see great comebacks in the 9th inning, and that's what happened to us on Saturday. But then on Sunday, you know, got an incredible pitching performance from Teddy Silas. You know, an 8-inning complete game, and threw as well as he's thrown all year, and we lose 1-0, and we just couldn't get anything going offensively at all. You know, we had 3 hits by one guy, Stephen Foster, and you know, I thought a couple good at-bats by a couple other guys, but too many guys in that lineup didn't have good at-bats, and you know, threw an opportunity to win a series away on Sunday.
We had talked a lot about, you know, the pitching and Chris Weiss, and you know, that situation on Saturday where he comes in and gives up the 5 runs in the 9th. Just talk about Chris, his mentality as a closer. I mean, it happened, like you said, it happens. How did Chris react to that, and how do you see him, you know, going forward?
You know, I think if Chris has a great mentality for a closer. You know, he wants to compete. He wants to be in the tough spots. You know, the thing that gets missed is, you know, he came in the 7th inning with 2 outs and guys on 1st and 3rd at the time, and it was a 2-0 game at that time, and gets out of that jam, and then has an easy 8th inning. And you know, I think the thing that happened in the 9th inning, him and I talked about it yesterday, was he just kind of a little bit got out of sorts and tried to become more of a power pitcher, power arm than a good pitcher. You know, Chris was a starter early in his career. He has fastball, breaking ball, changeup in play at any time, and you know, that's why I think he's always available to get 3 outs any inning he wants to. He could go 5 or 6 innings because he has 3 pitches in play. But you know, I thought he tried to overpower it too much in that 9th inning, and you know, to say Chris reacted you know, great on Sunday or Monday, I think, you know, yesterday he was probably finally over it, but you know, there's not a kid on our team that cares more about winning than him, and you know, Hofstra baseball doing well, and you know, he took a brunt of his shoulders, but we had opportunities in that game to score other runs. Matter of fact, in the 8th inning, we left the bases loaded, you know, and could have had a couple more runs, and so at the end of the day, it looks like we lost it in the 9th, but we lost it at different points. But you know, on Friday we got a great, you know, shutout performance from Rooney, which set up the whole weekend, and we scored 11 runs on Friday, and really set ourselves up to be in really good position. And that weekend we faltered, and as I said, at the end of the day, we can't get it back, and we've got to make up with games on that early in the season, or you know, early here at home.
It brings us to yesterday, a tough midweek game against Manhattan. Come up on the short side of a 12-4 loss. Extends the team's losing streak to 3 games, which is the longest of the season so far. What, you know, I know we spoke after the game yesterday, but now with time to sleep on it, what was your reaction from yesterday's game?
You know, Manhattan completely outplayed us. I'm very honest with the team about when we play well and we do well, and when we do bad, and you know, we didn't pitch well. We had 14 walks. We didn't swing it well. We had 12 strikeouts. We played okay defense, not great defense, but you know, yesterday we got beat, and at the end of the day, it could have been a lot worse. I was looking afterwards, and Manhattan left 15 runners on base. So I guess we did a decent job of stopping some of the damage. But you know, I thought yesterday, you know, in the midweek games, you get some guys that get opportunities that necessarily hadn't pitched on the weekends coming in, and we're all excited to see those guys throw. But they have to have a willingness to compete and throw strikes. And you know, besides the 14 walks, I tallied up. Vito had 11 blocks with runners on base. I mean, we're spiking balls and did stuff. And maybe it's the adrenaline of being at home, maybe it's nervous, not having too many times out on the mound in their careers, but long story short, they've got to figure it out pretty quickly because besides the weekend having CAA opponents, next week we have a Fairfield team that's having a great year. The following week we have St. John's. Our opponents in the midweeks are just as good as sometimes as what we get on the weekend, and we need those guys to step up and do better than what we got yesterday. But yesterday was a team loss. I think we coached poorly. We couldn't have done much, very much worse than what we did yesterday. And so I told the team they have a little turnaround here to get ready for Delaware.
That brings us to this weekend, a really important home series against Delaware. After going, 1-2 in the first two series, you think this is a series that you need to win at home to, stay in the hunt so far early in the season?
Definitely. I think when you go on the road, you want to try to win a series and, get 2 of 3 on the road. It's hard to sweep somebody on the road. It doesn't happen very often. And then at home, you've got to win your series, and then try to sneak in a sweep or 2 every once in a while at home. And, we had a chance to win a series at Wilmington and lost the second game of that series, and then we had a chance to win a series at Towson and blew 2 games there to do it. So at some point, you got to make up those games that you lose on the road. So first things first is you got to win a series, and it's going to come down to, pitching like always and defense and some timely hitting. I think we've got to get some better at bats than what we've been getting the last 2 weekends and last 2 midweek performances. And long story short, I know Delaware has really, really good pitching right now on paper. I know a couple of their hitters, Patton and Scott, are returners last year from their regional team and conference championship team, and they can really swing the bat. And Delaware's a really tough opponent coming in here.
Rotation-wise, looking at the same thing with John Rooney starting on game 1?
Rooney, then Matt Weishire, and then Teddy Sillis. I think that they've earned it. I mean, Rooney threw a shutout. Weishire had 6 shutout, and Sillis had 8 innings of 1-run baseball, and his was very close to being shut out. So I mean, we have no complaints from starting pitching or core pitching right now. More importantly, we just got to get better at bats right now than what we're getting. We have, you're talking about we lost 3 games in a row. We kind of do that in our batting order. We string together 4 or 5 too many bad at bats in a row. We got to get some more competitive at bats, some better approaches, and we're going to have to do it against a really tough pitching Delaware team. So. Like I said, we have about 48 hours here to get our minds right to get better.
All right, and that series starts Friday, tentatively at 3 o'clock. Though I know some weather. We're talking about some weather changes. So make sure you check back at gohofstra.com. And you've been watching the WB Mason Coach Report with Hofstra Baseball head coach John Russo.